Afternoon again, everyone. Of course, it's my pleasure to be back again at the Belize Investment Summit. This is my third summit, and it's always good for my team there and the FSC, including the the Belize Companies and Corporate Affairs Registry, IMARBE, and so on and so on and so forth. To be here as well. So we've just spent some time getting some very insightful perspectives from the panel on financing. And so I'd like to pick up the thread and talk a little bit about how Belize is expanding avenues through which businesses can raise capital and investors can find opportunities. And I think the most important thing I want to come out of this today is how the Financial Services Commission is helping to make that happen. At the no, oh, sorry, my bad. At the FSC, our role is not just about supervising and regulating, but it's also fostering capital formation. We want Belize and Belize's investment landscape to be both dynamic, trustworthy, so the capital can flow efficiently to the products and ventures that need it most. So today, what we'll cover today, three things. The pillars that we are focused on in terms of developing Belize's securities market. Belize as an emerging investment destination and the role of the FSC in enabling capital market formation and growth. So let me spend a few minutes on the four pillars that help us we'll get there. The first of these, of course, is ethical conduct and financial education. I know for some of you this might be and sound very esoteric, but this is really important stuff because it is really foundational to ensuring that we develop a sound securities sector in Belize, which is not new in Belize. It has always existed, but it was never really properly regulated and given an opportunity to grow. And so now we have the framework in place to get that going. So what are we doing? In building on this. First, we partnered with University of Belize to support the development of sophisticated financial education for financial professionals, focusing on good conduct, international standards, Belizean regulations, and international trends. The objective of all of this is to ensure that everyone who operates in Belize understands what good ethical conduct is and the rules of the game to operate in our markets. Second, we're intensifying our investment education and public engagement program to educate the Belizean public on risks and benefits associated with capital markets. We're doing this through events such as this one today, through our annual meeting with investors and the market and stakeholders, where we present what the FSC has been doing, our program of work, and basically the things that we see developing in the market. We're also a very active participant starting last year in the IOSCO World Investor Week, through which we are engaging with local market participants. Secondly, the SIA is a very flexible piece of law. It's modern, it's strong. The regulatory framework is open and welcome in assisting securities market participants to develop their products and activities and meet the demands and expectations of local and global investors. Our capital market, however, is in a nascent stage, but we want to support its development and growth. We don't want it to squash it, overburden it with standards that at this point in time, we in the FSC don't see them as fit for purpose and not proportional to the size and nature of our market. For this reason, and I think this is a really key thing, the FSC is taking a sandbox approach to this. By taking this approach, what we mean is that investors can come to us to discuss how we apply the SIA, where the new rules need to be developed. They can work with us to find the right regulatory approach. And we want to work with businesses in real time to design an effective regulatory framework. Let me give you some very specific example. We are working, for example, with Finance Belize to create a one-stop shop for investors who want to raise capital. In this context, we're thinking about a combination of simplified offering materials for sophisticated investors, a simplified registration and abatement of licensing fees, and where possible, and it's difficult for me to say abatement of licensing fees, because the FSC is self-funding. So when I talk about lowering fees, I talk about losing income, but I won't get into that. And where possible, we're also involving the tax authorities to talk about tax incentives. We want to set up a desk where investors can come to us and describe their needs, and we can support and help them to design offerings that meet our regulatory requirements, and at the same time cutting the unnecessary red tape. So imagine, for example, an agro-processing company or a hotel development company here in Belize using a corporate bond to finance their growth and to expand into CARICOM, Mexico, Guatemala, etc. That's capital raised from one or more investors, potentially cheaper than the average lending rate of 9% from banks, and cutting the cost of cost of capital substantially. We're also working with municipal securities, supporting municipalities with offering preparation of offering materials. We're developing the regulatory framework around which we need for them to be able to comply with the requirements under the MSA. They do have their own piece of legislation. And we're looking how we can encourage the municipalities to come talk to us before you potentially go to market, to ensure that you're meeting all the requirements, and we will work with you through the process. While the framework, we're also discussing what will come next after the ban on digital assets is lifted in December 2026. So we have a working group that is looking at this, but it is going to ensure that the principle that's going to underpin this is that it's going to be aligned with international standards, AML, CFT, mutual recognition, and planning with other regulators. And again, this is an area that we are looking. We are also going to use the sandbox approach. Smart supervision. As a regulator, of course, we're committed to fostering intelligent and effective oversight and ensuring fair play and integrity within the Belizean capital markets. So in doing this, we heard the bankers talk about risk. Well, as a regulator, we also talk about risk, but we don't want to spend all of our limited resources trying to focus on everyone. We want to identify the most riskiest and devote the resources to ensuring that we mitigate the risks, because they're the ones that they're going to be more problematic for us. So what we're doing is that we've been conducting thematic reviews throughout 2025 to benchmark regulatory principles and engaging with ongoing engagement with the market participants through 2026. So Belize as an emerging investment destination, and how is the FFC doing this? We are developing a very friendly but risk-aware framework, opening new doors, keeping the market safe. And in doing that, we're focusing on licensing and supervising intermediaries to uphold competence and integrity, aligning the regulatory framework with IOSCO principles and FATF standards. You'll hear me come back to the IOSCO principles later on, and establishing robust disclosure and governance requirements. I mentioned the digital asset ban that is set to expire in December 31st, 2025. So I mentioned before that we're developing the framework for doing that and what comes next. So Belize, we're expanding our capital horizon with these new pieces of legislation. Our securities market is maturing, but we are sure that with these new developments and new paths for financing and investment, that these new pieces of legislation can really help Belize and open up another opportunity for fostering investment in Belize, not only from external investors, but more importantly, domestic investors. There's a lot of liquidity in the system we often hear about. And capital markets can help, in our view, with dispensing that capital efficiently at a lower cost. So at that quick summary of where we are, this work is ongoing as we develop this framework. We encourage you as potential investors to come talk to us about our requirements. We can walk you through and help you make sure that you understand what the securities laws in Belize require, working with you in partnership to ensure that we develop a very fair and safe and efficient capital markets in Belize. Thank you very much.